Tick-tock, time to rock. D Wood here with Destiny. Hey, you're not actually Destiny, but you got the same blue hair. I guess I could call you Destiny's child. Does that work?
That's good. And I could bring out a song called "I'm a Survivor, I'm a baby," something like that. Yeah.
Someone's probably made that same joke to Destiny like a trillion times over other people with blue hair, I guess. I don't know.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We have here people's thoughts on slow mode. Yes. Yes, it is. Yep. We have it. We have it here. Hey, so anyway, we're over here on my channel now, and we're going to talk about Mut'ah. You heard of this, AP? Mut'ah?
Mut'ah. Have I not heard about Mut'ah? Yes, I have. I have. It's a very, very nice practice, a very considerate practice that is meant to deal in a very gentle and nice and positive way with the sexual needs of men.
Yeah, it is. There's lots of stuff in Islam that's really convenient for that. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's really interesting when you look back at, there needs to be something really thorough done on this. When you look back at the things that drew people into Islam or kept them in Islam at the beginning, the kinds of arguments and evidences that they found persuasive back then. Very, very different from what Muslims say today. When Muslims are speaking, well, I guess it depends on the audience, but if they're speaking, we've talked before about how they'll adapt the message to their audience. If they're talking to people who believe in women's rights, they'll, Muhammad was a feminist. If they're talking to people who really value science and, the Quran is this great scientific book, they'll just adapt the message. But in general, if they're talking to like, Christians or something like that, it's like, don't you believe that we should all submit to God? Islam is just the worship of one God. It's just pure monotheism. That's it. Why would you have a problem with that? That's what it is now. But if you go back, it's all like, Muhammad's got this huge mole on his back. He must be a prophet. What other explanation could it be? This is the proof. And then as far as drawing people into Islam, the argument is literally, I'm not exaggerating, the argument is literally, if you join me and fight for me and you go out and we fight other people, then there are two possibilities. Either you're going to survive, in which case we're going to take all the people's stuff and their women and girls and stuff and take it back, and that'll be our stuff now. Or you're going to die in battle, in which case you get to spend eternity deflowering virgins. That was the big draw. That's when you started seeing like massive amounts of people coming to Islam. We're part of a big organized gang / religion that's going around taking everyone's stuff, making everyone pay us to not be slaughtered. And we're just going to keep doing this and getting more and more stuff throughout the world and banging more and more chicks. And like, oh yeah, where do I sign up for that?
This makes me think. I wonder if I went out today, for example, and started a new movement and told people all of these things like, hey, I have this fantastic, I received these fantastic revelations. And according to those, it is actually true that, if you follow this path closely and well, and after you die, you will go to a better place where you will have endless sex with, people of amazing bodies that you have never even experienced before. This will be your entire life. I wonder if I could convince people like that. I don't know. Maybe it still works.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who this is gonna reach, but yeah, I don't know. That seems to be a good recipe. But so it's weird. The actual recipe in Islam all along has just been whatever your target audience values, just say that's what they're getting by converting. So if you want to bang lots of women right now and girls and then spend eternity doing that, oh, have I got a religion for you. Oh, you're all about monotheism and just worshiping God. Oh, have we got a religion for you. Oh, you're all about science. Have we got a religion for you. It's just whatever you want. Islam is it. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? All right, guys. So we're going to watch this is going to be a short show because I have to be on for This Week in Jihad at 8:00. And so, but that's cool because we've got a video by a Muslim revert who apparently people have been guys have been proposing Mut'ah to her, and and she doesn't know what Mut'ah is, so she's asking. So uh, we're here to help, lady. If you want to know what Mut'ah is, we can break it down for you. We can help. We're here to help all the people who've converted to Islam without knowing anything at all about it, except for what you heard from some Dawa guy. We're here to help. We're here to answer your questions.
If you just want to know more about Mut'ah, come to us. We can tell you all about it.
Yeah, now I did want to point out here at the beginning that this is Apologetics Roadshow channel. We've sort of divided up the channels so that over on AP's channel, that's the Apostate Prophet, everything is we're doomed. It's the end of the world. It's too late. Islam is too strong. Once they've got 4% of the population, there's no turning back. There's nothing you could do. There's no point in refuting Islam or exposing Islam or increasing the apostasy rate. It's too late. Go get a bunker. That's all you can do for the rest of your life. Just hide, and maybe you get an extra few months of life. So that's going to be on AP's channel, and I'm going with it. I'm going with it. When you see me over there, I got to respect the channel, and that's how I'll be. Over here on Apologetics Roadshow, ladies and gentlemen, Islam is weak. It's crumbling from within. The Dawa guys are in panic mode. The apostasy rate went from 0 to 24% in like 15 years. And that's the statistic from a couple years ago. And that's continuing to accelerate. Who knows what it is now? 28, 30%. What are we aiming for? 40, 50, 60, 80, 100%. We're going to keep going. The reason the Dawa guys are going around thumping their chests, oh, we're so strong, we're so strong. They're in panic mode. They're so desperate. They're clinging to people like Andrew Tate, whose trial for sex trafficking and so on is about to start. They're clinging to Sneeko, who embarrasses them literally every time he opens them, but they have nowhere else to go. Anyone with a platform they'll cling to because that's how desperate they are. And as far as what's going on with the war right now, the reason they're throwing tantrums literally all over the world and aligning with groups that they would exterminate ordinarily, the LGBTQ, they would exterminate them. Why are they aligning with them? Because they're absolutely desperate. They will cling to anyone who will agree with them for any reason and partner with them because they know if Israel continues and Hamas is wiped out, Israel has a total victory, the entire Ummah is going to be wondering, what just happened? We just threw one of the biggest tantrums the world has ever seen, and it didn't work at all. How can we say that God is on our side and not their side? They know it's going to sink in. They know that people are finding out about all the things that Muhammad did, including the one we're about to talk about right now. They're about to find out all of that. The apostasy rate is going to skyrocket even more. It's going to crumble. They have no plan B. They're in panic mode. That's the way it is, and we get to watch it happen and accelerate the destruction. So that's how we are in our channel.
Great, right? It is great. It gives me a lot of hope. It's great, like how people are more and more people are being exposed to how bad Islam is, and we are helping, and we are helping with every single video, with every single stream that we are making. Another person gets exposed to this now because of this war that Hamas started through their savagery. This has opened new doors, and more people who otherwise weren't part of the conversation came into the conversation. Now they hear about all of this as well, and now they find out what the problem is and why Islam is the problem and how Islam causes the problem. So more and more people are turning against it. While it may seem like there is this big, loud opposition to Israel and this big support for Islamist movements, on the contrary, you have so many people now standing up and openly acknowledging and realizing that it is actually a religious problem, and that this religious problem can just not be further ignored anymore. So this is really good to see, and I'm glad that we are here just sharing more of this experience with people. This makes me happy.
Yeah. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we get with Blue Hair AP on this channel. Super upbeat, super positive. Total victory is in sight for us, ladies and gentlemen. We got this until we're back on AP's channel, and then we all doomed. We're all gonna die. All right.
I did say to you before the channel for a second, I had to overcome a big burden, but I did say to you, David, I'm sorry about yesterday.
Yeah, that was kind of concerning yesterday because I was like, "Hey guys, take this opportunity to go out and expose Islam because if they're bragging about making you uncomfortable, here's how you can make them uncomfortable. They get really uncomfortable if you start making fun of their prophet. So learn to make fun of their prophet better." And Avi's like, "No, don't do that." I was like, "Wait, what? We've been doing that's been what we've been doing for years. Now we got no." So anyway,
Yeah.
so we're gonna I'm gonna take the couple super chats real quick, and then we're gonna jump into the video. I did want to give a little update. Remember, we mentioned yesterday the Ahmed ex-Muslim channel. So he's an ex-Muslim in Canada. He's a Christian who now has been exposing Islam for a while. He's got over 50,000 subs on his channel. But he got into an accident, several car accidents several months ago, and he's been out of work and recovering and stuff. And anyway, hasn't been able to pay his rent and got an eviction notice that he's going to be evicted unless he pays like several months of back rent. Anyway, they put up a fundraiser. We mentioned it and sent it out and stuff like that. Anyway, he shattered the goal. The goal has been shattered. So there was the goal. That goal has been shattered. So thanks to everyone who contributed to that or prayed for him or helped out in any way. All right, couple super chats, then we'll jump into the video. That almost sounds like my name, Lotar. What sounds like your name, Lotar? Lotar's a cool name.
That's a very, very old name.
Yeah. Did you know any Lotars in Germany?
No.
Then you missed out. What was the point of being there? I would totally name my kid Lotar if I was German. Matter of fact, I have to say, Lotar's me and my wife, when we started having kids, we're actually looking for like cool names that are not normal, that aren't very common and stuff, and we actually considered Lotar.
Naming a child Lothar in Germany would be like naming a child, I can't even think of an example, but one of those ancient names in English.
Yeah, I really like the name, but I always I can zero in on my mind automatically starts going on how will people make fun of the name, and you got Lo and you've got Tar in there, and it's like there's a bunch of possibilities for making fun of the name. And so cool. You got my kid's name. My kid's named something that if other kids start making fun of his name, then he has to beat up 5 kids, and then I have to go to the principal's office and stuff. You know what I
mean? Yeah.
I saw Rationality Rules response to your video. It was so fallacious and fallacy, it belonged on Goat Hub. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Hey, look. Hey, we're talking about Mut'ah, and someone put Shar Mut'ah. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a classic clip where the guy at the security gate called a woman Sharmuta, and she snatched him up and humiliated him.
Hey, you know what's funny? I just, out of curiosity, looked up if the domain goathub.com is available, and it says this domain is currently owned and for sale for $4,500.
Oh, quite a bargain! But think of how much money you can make just from Pakistan alone. You can make back your money in like 5 minutes on that. If I had two shoes, I choose the Mut'ah forever.
Man.
Mut'ah für Mütter. I'm here funny. Just to learn the wisdom of the goats. Love you guys. Thank you. Well, we've got lots of goat wisdom here on the Screaming Goats podcast.
Indeed we do. Yeah.
What's the hardest part about being a Muslim man? We're going to see.
Hey, am I handling this roughly, or is it just me? Because now both ears are missing on my goat.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? My goat has been perfectly intact since before Christmas, and yours is already like all banged up.
Yeah.
Be gentle. Put that thing into like a glass case or something like that. Ruining it. Let's see. If I was a Muslim, I would not want to convert Europeans. We could create Islam in our image and kick butt against those heretics, Sunni and Shia, and take over Mecca. Yeah, it is interesting how it's like crumbling from within, and their focus is outward because there's nothing they can do about it. Um, David Wood, I wanted to tell you this yesterday. We have to stand for the truth until the end. Even if we die for Jesus and the truth. Thank you. You ain't got to tell me. D Wood's ready. D Wood's ready.
This is the spirit. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I'm all about protecting children. Do you have a religion for me? Oh, yes, we protect them from the time they're. Can you imagine Hakikachu? Oh, we protect him. We protect him over and over and over all night long. Freaking perverts.
That's actually part of its argument
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
that
That's why I wasn't
marriage,
exaggerating.
marrying them is done for the purpose of protecting them from engaging in actions that are otherwise, perverted or haram or whatever. And taking a sex slave at any age, even if she's like 5 years old, on the battlefield, is just to it's better than letting her die right there. Therefore, just marry her or therefore just take her as a sex slave. Like those are the two alternatives: take her as a sex slave or let her die. There's just no middle.
Yeah.
There's just nothing between.
Yeah, it's just always look. You gotta look. The only way to help kids is to bang them in Islam. It's funny, that's built into their apologetics as well. It's like Muhammad had to marry Aisha because Allah knew that she would preserve lots of important hadiths. So, like, even learning about Muhammad, in order to learn about Muhammad, he has to bang a little kid. It's just everything involves banging kids.
Beast.
Good luck with the show, gentlemen. Yes. I figured out why you always pick on Mike Winger. You look like him, and you are insecure about being a nerd. One, I don't look like him. And two, even if I did look like him, he's a nerd. It's totally different. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
I live in Eastern Europe next to Bosnia, which is Islamic country, and the Muslims there are 20 years behind the English-speaking community when it comes to dawah. Debating them is painful. Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I assume they've been, like, they're still in,
what does
like, Zakir Naik mode or something.
Mean? What does it even mean? I live next to Bosnia. Why don't you just tell us where you live? Croatia? Serbia?
Oh. AP, atheist members gift almost 500 memberships. D Wood, Christian, no one gifts memberships. Draw your own conclusions. You see, this is the proof that atheism is true.
Atheism is true.
AP's fans do give tons and tons of memberships. I have noticed that.
That's true. That's true.
Islam converting.
The Jews are coming in and doing that.
Yeah, they're doing it. You see that? Islam, it's a way of funneling shekels, guys. That's what it is. Islam converting Westerners is going to backfire big time. They will ask questions eventually and look on YouTube. All they're doing is creating an army of more knowledgeable apostates in the future. Yeah, I've been saying that for years. I mean, in fact, this goes back. I read this in probably 2007 or 2008 in a Muslim booklet that was being handed out that was pointing out this problem of just rushing to win converts. They pointed out that I think it was around 60% of new converts to Islam in the West will leave Islam within 2 years.
Wasn't it higher than that? I thought it was even higher than 60.
It might. I mean, that's what it was back then. Again, that was in a Muslim pamphlet, and it was, and this is like 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. Yeah, it said 60% of new Muslims will leave Islam within 2 years. And so they're trying to figure out what to do about that. But I mean, think about this. If you go out and you win 10,000 converts, according to that figure back then, if you create 10,000 converts, you've just created 6,000 ex-Muslims 2 years from now.
Yes.
And so you're actually making more ex-Muslims than you are winning people. You're losing ground over time.
Yeah, we should have that. That's why we should probably encourage people converting to Islam, because that will increase the number of ex-Muslims. So,
yeah, and it's really bad with how they're doing it, like how they go just for video purposes, will get some kid on the streets of London to convert to Islam, and then the kid goes home, and it's like, do you seriously think that kid's going to be a devout Muslim now on? No, you just made another ex-Muslim. Or when they strive to get on someone's podcast because they know they can lie in an atmosphere of ignorance and just make up a bunch of stuff about Islam, and they're talking to a bunch of people who don't know any better. And so, maybe some of them will convert. Yeah, until they actually look it up. And then you just created a bunch more ex-Muslims. So it just doesn't, they're just in trouble when people have access to information nowadays. This could have been successful way back in the day, but they're in trouble right now, and they got no plan B.
Some people are bashing Patrick Bet-David now.
For what?
I
What do you do?
saw recently some Muslim apologists were calling him an Islamophobe because actually it was from one of those idiots who went on his show to preach about Islam and was like, "Look, Patrick Bet-David, wow, he's so respectful, and he actually gave Muslims the opportunity to come here and preach and this and that. This is a very good sign. He's a very good man." And then he started talking about how Christianity is not the religion that tells people to go out and slaughter a bunch of people in the name of their ideologies and their ideas. It's a different religion that encourages things like this. And he had this monologue about how Christianity is not violent and Islam is, basically. And then some people made videos and posts about, "Oh, look at this, look how he immediately took advantage of us and turned against Islam because he's an Islamophobe."
Yeah, but you could tell even back then, remember, because he was trying to get Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab on there, and then they act like he's trying to sabotage them, and they post a video, and hey, you have to apologize to us now, or you like he needs them. He needs these Dawah guys. He's got a massive platform and a massive podcast. And they're like, "Hey, you need to come to us and apologize and beg us." But yeah, dude, this is what I'm talking about. You got these guys who back then, he's actually trying to build bridges between Christians and Muslims. He was on that bandwagon of Christians and Muslims should be united in fighting the ills and evils of society. And then he gets some Christians and Muslims on the show, and the Muslims are like, "Yeah, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill you. We're going to keep, yes, of course we're going to kill you. As soon as we come to power, we can kill you." And then he's like, "Okay, so what about Dylan Mulvaney?" And it's like, dude, one side says they want to kill the other, and you're still trying to unite against Dylan Mulvaney or something. What's wrong with you?
That was really the dumbest moment that I've seen on his channel.
Yeah, and the thing, what these guys don't realize when they attack, right? Because they're attacking in all directions now. They're making their future enemy. These are all these guys. Jordan Peterson was trying to build bridges, right? With his get a Muslim pen pal, and they're all trying. Hey, let's bring everyone together. And all the Dawah guys just pounce and attack. How dare you? The first time they're offended about anything, they attack and they pounce. And don't realize they're creating their future enemies where there were allies. They had allies, very popular allies with huge platforms who were willing to extend a hand and say, "Let's work together," and they crap all over it. And because they have
this arrogance, this Islamic arrogance and Islamic privilege, where they think anybody who interacts with Islam or anybody who says something about Islam has to say the best thing about Islam, has to be completely positive about Islam, cannot utter a single word of criticism or even concern. If you interact with somebody, that person has to now say, "Oh, Islam is the best religion ever. Oh, Islam is a fantastic religion. I am thinking of converting to Islam." If that person says anything negative about Islam, and they're like, "Oh, see, this is unacceptable. You can see here that this person is the devil."
Yeah, and it's there's a reason for that. You do get quite a bit of limited success using that method. It's basic, guys. You can go back. There are 5 basic manipulation broad categories of manipulation tactics. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement are 2 of the simplest and straightforward. Islam uses that endlessly. It's if you do what we want, we shower you with praise, and if you veer from that, we heap insults and abuse on you, and so on. And that's it. Guess what? That works with a lot of people. It doesn't work with everyone. And they try the same method because it's all they have. They'll use the same method against people that it will not work on. That's not something that's going to work on Patrick Bet-David. It's not going to work on Jordan Peterson. But they have there's nothing else. There's no plan B there. All right, so here's one to lead us into the topic, and we'll go and watch the video after this. Pay every penny to save Israel says Mut'ah equals either prostitution or glorified 3-night stand hidden behind juridical mumbo jumbo. So trad, so base, so much better than the degenerate West.
So based.
Yeah, and even the 3-night stand is actually prostitution. You're just hiring the prostitute for 3 days. So with that said, we've got more super chats, but we want to go ahead and jump into this video. get ready, because here's a, and I saw this when I went over to Ahmed X Muslim's channel. He shared this, and we have this video from a Muslim revert who has heard about something called Mut'ah, and she's a little confused because she doesn't want Mut'ah. She wants marriage to be for life.
So I have a crazy topic to discuss. It is Mut'ah. So I had never heard that term. I'm a revert or convert to Islam until a man that I was interested in and was talking to me brought it up. And he's like, hey, have you ever done a Mut'ah or heard of
You getting this?
Oh, what?
You get this already, guys. So she's a new Muslimah. She knows she has to wear her thing around her head. And she's interested in a man. So she's like, wow, Abdul over there, oh, wow, what a man, what a strong man. I wonder if he'll marry me. And his question is, so do you do Mut'ah? You want to try Mut'ah? Which means which means I'm gonna marry you for the night and bang you and then divorce you.
How about we engage in some Mut'ah
and pay you some money? What did he just ask her? He just said, hey, you're a Muslim. Can we do some prostitution? Can I hire you as a prostitute? But it's all halal. It's all halal certified.
Certified halal.
Let me back this up because it's interesting. You have lots of Muslims who say, no, Islam, it only allowed Mut'ah marriage for a little while. And you do have some hadiths on that, but we're going to take a look at that. And by the way, guys, when we've focused on making certain issues common knowledge over the years, right? You just have to keep hitting the same issues over and over again until it starts becoming common knowledge. We are at a point in history where Muhammad's marriage to Aisha is becoming common knowledge. Now you have like very popular streamers who don't deal with Islam much saying, hey, what's up with this? What's going on with this Muhammad and this 9-year-old girl? So you have that. But this is one of the issues that should be made more made into common knowledge over time. Because, I mean, think about this. I mean, she converted to Islam and she's obviously never studied it. Because it's kind of hard to miss Mut'ah marriage. But let's back this up. I want everyone to hear. So follow the trajectory here. She converted to Islam. She's interested in a guy. She's chatting up the guy, and he asks her to hire her as a prostitute in Islam. 100% halal because he's going to pay her. And she's not familiar with this. So listen again to what she said.
crazy topic to discuss? It is Mut'ah. So I had never heard that term. I'm a revert or convert to Islam until a man that I was interested in and was talking to me brought it up. And he's like, hey, have you ever done a Mut'ah or heard of a Mut'ah?
Guy I was interested in. I hope you're not still interested in him, lady.
I want to talk about Mut'ah.
Because guess what? If you were to marry this guy and become this guy's permanent wife, well, as a Muslim, he's allowed to have multiple wives. So while you're his home wife, this is the sort of guy who, if he's not married already, is gladly going to go around doing Mut'ah marriages with other women, and you're interested in him. Wild stuff.
It's maybe, I don't know, if somebody comes to you and says, hey, you want to do Mut'ah, you should say, no, Mut'ah, lover.
No, I hadn't. So I looked into it, and y'all, it's basically like research. A temporary marriage, which in and of itself is like an oxymoron.
You think? That's nice.
Guys, did you hear what she just said? That if a marriage is temporary, it's an oxymoron. Marriage is supposed to be for life. AP, is marriage supposed to be for life in Islam? Is that the rule in Islam?
In Islam, nope. There is no such rule.
Not even from Muhammad. Remember, Muhammad, once his wife, Sauda, got old and massively overweight and was unattractive to him, he was about to divorce her just because, like, she's old. I want to trade her in for a younger model. And she had to actually renounce her marital rights as far as him visiting her and so on to say, please don't divorce me because I'll starve. Why? Because Muhammad's wives weren't allowed to marry anyone else after him. So she would have just basically been kicked out and left to fend for herself in her old age. So she came to an agreement. Hey, all of my privileges, just don't divorce me. Make sure I still have a place to live and I'm still fed. Other than that, you give any time you would have spent with me, just go spend it with your child bride, Aisha. And the Quran praised her for being willing to renounce her marital privileges and so on to stay married. The Quran praised her for that. And so that's the pattern of conduct. The pattern of conduct in Islam, Muhammad is someone who says, hey, we've been married for a while, but you're getting kind of old now. I'm kind of old too, but I've got the power here. So I'm going to get rid of you and trade you in for a younger model. This lady, we're not even talking about mut'ah yet. We're not even talking about going and hiring someone for sex for 3 hours or 3 days or something like that. We're not even talking about that view of marriage. We're not even talking about Surah 65 verse 4, which talks about divorcing prepubescent girls. So you marry the prepubescent girl, you have sex with her, you divorce her, pass her on to the next guy who has sex, who marries the prepubescent girl, has sex with the prepubescent girl, and divorces the prepubescent. This is what Surah 65 verse 4 is about. It's about marrying, having sex with, and divorcing girls all before the age of puberty. And what the rules are, and this, she has it built into her head. Oh, marriage is forever. So what is this stuff about mut'ah? Because everyone knows it's till death do us part in marriage. And this is the problem. People think that the way you like things, that's what Islam is. Why? Because that's what the Dawah guys do. Whatever you like, Islam is that. Islam is that thing. Look at her. My goodness, look at her face just at the thought of, isn't it weird that you could just marry for a couple days? Interesting. Let's go through some more of this.
Like, marriage is supposed to be forever.
Oh my goodness.
Like a temporary marriage, which in and of itself is like an oxymoron, right? Like, marriage is supposed to be forever. Whatever. So the more I looked into it,
the more research I did. It sounds like Rosie. Well, I did my research.
Felt very uneasy.
What's up?
This is so wild because in the Muslim world, people who don't convert to Islam, especially women who don't convert to Islam but who are part of Muslim, don't just go online and talk about these things and don't just say, oh, I just heard this new thing about, in Islam, and guys, I want to tell you about this because that's just confusing to me because, isn't marriage supposed to be forever? Like, this is stuff that people in the Muslim world don't really do. This is a revert. Maybe we should call this the R word, actually. But this is a convert thing, especially a Western convert thing.
This is very different, and I guarantee you there are lots of. I'm sure they'll jump all over for this and try to. No, mut'ah is this great thing that was just allowed for a little while and then not anymore. Even though she's literally aware of guys who are still practicing mut'ah because it still happens. We're going to see why. But, think about this. What everything she said already in this short clip, it's, hi, I got into Islam and I have no clue what the view of marriage is. I have no clue about mut'ah. These are all things that I would have heard about very quickly if I had listened to any of the critics of Islam before jumping into this. But I have no clue about anything. And so I'm just going to post my questions on the internet. Hey, what's up with mut'ah? What's up with mut'ah? Yeah, what's up? Wait, we're going to find out. We're going to help you out. We're going to help you out, dear. Well, let's let you finish here.
So the more I looked into it, I just felt very uneasy about it and didn't feel comfortable with that term. Because when I want to marry somebody, I want to be with them forever.
By the way, you know what this just reminded me of? Remember Muhammad Hijab's video where they're talking about secret second wives and how you can lie to your wives about having other wives and keep them all in the dark about each other. And then he kind of went off and started going, this isn't the religion of women's feelings. We're not worshiping women's feelings, right? And she's sitting here, I feel that marriage should be forever. And I feel that this is weird. I feel that something is wrong. What would Muhammad Hijab say to this woman? It's like, we're not worshiping this is about submission to Allah, not submission to your feelings, lady. And you're submitting to your feelings and think you're submitting to Allah. Wild
He would say
stuff.
Allah doesn't care about your feelings.
Yep. That should be the Islamic version of facts don't care about your feelings. I don't know. How are Muslims not walking around with shirts that say Allah doesn't care about your feelings or something like that?
We should popularize that. We should Muslims learn something. Learn some new slogans.
Hey, that should become a line of shake your booty. Like you just play someone, I feel that and shake your booty. Allah doesn't care about your feelings.
That's a good point.
Make responses. Matter of fact, you could do an entire response series where someone just posts something and they're like, well, I feel that. And then shake your booty just pops up. Allah doesn't care about your feelings. And then it goes on. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. This is how we come up with ideas, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Back to this super researcher here.
Because when I want to marry somebody, I want to be with them forever. Like,
That's his choice, though.
I don't plan to be with somebody just for a short period of time. Like, whatever differences we have in a marriage, I'm going to work through those. I want to work through those as a couple.
You can try to work through those. Gosh, she's clueless. She's clueless.
This sounds like very weak woman talk. Obviously, this is like we're talking about the sexual needs of men. Who are you to express your feelings as a woman?
Yeah. Islam is all about satisfying the sexual needs of men. And you're sitting here, but I feel because I've been raised in a different place where marriage is important and blah, blah, blah. This is what I feel. So I converted to this religion where all of my feelings are completely irrelevant. And now I'm confused. Get used to it. Get used to a lot of disappointment, dear.
And not just leave because it's hard, right? So, and he was like, well, if you don't believe in this, this is what, the prophet said is okay. So do you know better than the prophet? And do you like...
You know better?
Yes, I do.
He also allowed your husband to marry multiple wives and take a child bride from his dawa buddy if he wants to, and have concubines and trade you guys in and out all he wants. So if he gets bored with you after 6 months, which guess what? If you're talking to a guy who's interested in mut'ah, that's a guy who likes a lot of variety. And I just want to be married forever. What are the odds that this guy's going to, I'm just going to be satisfied with one woman forever because of your feelings? Wow. Anyway.
Al-Dawa said it best. He said, Muslim sisters, they would die for their sisters, would take a bullet for their sisters, but wouldn't share their husbands with their sisters.
Yeah, lady, your only chance of keeping this guy that you're interested in would be if you are going to be the sort of wife, don't worry, because I'm going to keep bringing you home my friends to bang.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be beautiful.
And I'll keep trading them out. I'll basically be your bottom girl wife.
Woohoo.
I don't want to answer that question because but
I don't want to answer the question. Do you know better than Muhammad? Muhammad said it. Your feelings say one thing. Muhammad says something else. Muhammad doesn't care about your feelings. Who's right? The prophet or your feelings? Watch.
The prophet said is okay. So do you know better than the prophet? And do you like? I don't want to answer that question because but this makes me feel very uneasy. So what do you guys that are born Muslims or have studied more than I have, what are your thoughts and opinions on mut'ah marriages?
Mut'ah.
All right, so everyone got that? She converted to Islam. She reverted to Islam. She's interested in a guy. Oh, look at him. He's so strong and manly. Hey, she starts chatting him up, and he says, hey, what do you think about mut'ah? You want to try mut'ah? Oh, mut'ah, what's that? That's where I marry you for 3 hours and bang you, and I give you some money and send you out.
Oh, that sounds very nice.
But I thought marriage was just for life, like I've heard from other people. So what's going on with that? That doesn't seem right. Well, who knows better? You or Muhammad? Well, I'm a Muslimah now, so I can't say that I know better. Okay, then shut up and do mut'ah with me. Well, let me go ask the audience first. Say, all of you out there who are watching right now, should I do mut'ah with this guy? This is Islam. This is Islam. Hey,
It's,
hey,
how do you even? This just shows. I mean, she has a question about something so serious, and what she does as a result of having such a serious question is to post a video on like TikTok or somewhere else. Post a video and say, "Okay, guys, I'm in such a situation right now, and I don't really know what to do, and I haven't studied very much. So, what do you guys, who are born Muslims, think about this? Is this how you converted to Islam?"
yeah, exactly. Hey guys, what do you think I should convert to? Oh, Islam? Okay. Well, now what? Hey guys, I heard about Mut'ah. People want to do Mut'ah with me. Yeah, so
Hey guys, I'm here for Muta.
hey, so check this out. So anyway, I posted I I set this up like whatever it was, 6 or 7 in the morning. I set up this live stream, and so had her picture up there. But then Jai from Jai Apologetics said, "Oh, I'm familiar with her. Check out these screenshots." So he took some screenshots of comments on her videos. You ready for this?
Yes.
He took some screenshots. He took screenshots from her videos. Check this out. You are so beautiful. Will you marry me? Nope. Why? I like you so much. I really like you so much. Why you do not talk to me? I really like you. Talk to me, please.
Oh my god.
You got to up your game, bud. You got to up your game. Got to up your game. You got to say, yo, baby, I'm breaking my fast. How about a date?
But it's gonna be fast.
Check this out. Totally different guy. Please, you marry me. Please, you marry me. He spelled me right. She says, nope. And then, I don't, not in this way, my friend. They know us more than we know ourselves. Muhammad says, mashallah, cute. Mashallah, cute. I am single. I am Muslim, single, unmarried. I am looking for a wife and my soulmate. My heart, you will marry me. I don't smoke and drink.
Jeez.
Kaba emoji. Kaba heart emoji.
My god, these people.
She has to reject all these. She says, hope you find her. He says, looking for the soulmate. Marry with Muslim man. She says, I am. That's good, sister. So she is marrying a Muslim man. And I'm sure he will fulfill all her wishes and desires. I'm Muslim. Please marry to me. No. Why? Marrying is a sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
You know, I wonder if the guy who made the Muta suggestion to her was actually a Shia Muslim and she wasn't even aware of the difference because she doesn't have any idea about this religion that she converted to.
Yeah, it's more frowned upon in among Sunnis, but there are Sunnis who do it. We're going to see.
Yeah,
we're going to see why they think they can pull it off here in a.
There's also a tradition. It's also I mean, in the early 12th century, 13th century, 14th century, there were texts. There are texts from those times that still say the scholars generally agree that it is permissible. However, some say it is objectionable, and so on. But at some point, it came to be accepted as wrong according to the four schools of thought in Sunni Islam. But there are still arguments that can be made for it, or just call it something else.
Indeed, we're going to see exactly why that is. We're going to see why that is. So she says here. So someone says, or just marry a Muslim. No need to be Arab. She says, my fiance is Arab, so I'm not going to marry some other race. So now she has a Muslim fiance, so she's all good to go, and she can live happily ever after with a man forever. This guy says, I am a young Arab Muslim from southern Egypt. I work as a supervisor for safety and environmental health. I would like to propose to you. I like how it's all like all these are like applications.
This is how desperate Muslims are. I mean, you see this, right? This is very common. Muslims can be very desperate. If you are I'm serious. If you're a white woman,
that's it. You're the ultimate. You're the ultimate status symbol.
you are so desirable to these people. However, it's only up to a certain point because they will worship you and they will worship you and they will fight for you. They will kill each other for you. However, once you actually become the wife, then things turn around, because then suddenly it becomes normal for the person who has you, and then the whole treating you like a second class human will start, and so on. We have you, David, you probably received emails. I receive emails like that all the time from women who got into that, who were lured into such a thing, who got married, or like
Hundreds, if not thousands. I would guess thousands, but
who
conservatively,
now
hundreds.
say my life is ruined because of
Mm-hmm.
this.
And pretty much everywhere I go to speak, like clockwork, pretty much everywhere I go to speak, where I announce that I'm speaking, 1 to 2 women will come up to me when I'm not speaking and so on, and tell me their horror story about how they got. Usually, some of them are women who converted and then left later on once they found out what it was really about. Lots of them are from Christian women who said, "Hey, the Muslim man," and this is the story I've gotten over and over again hundreds of times. Muslim guy that I liked and was super friendly, and I was super friendly with, and we were friends from school, and blah 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 blah. And he told me that in Islam, it's okay for a Muslim to marry a Christian, and the Christian can be a Christian. A Muslim man can marry a Christian woman, and the Christian woman can remain a Christian woman. So he said there's no problem with us being together. So we got married, and everything was great until we had a kid, and then there was confusion about how we're going to raise the kid, and all of a sudden he changed and became a nightmare, and his family stepped in, and they started insisting that I had to convert to Islam because we can't have the child being confused and so on. And then there's all this pressure on me, and now I can't get out because they say they're going to keep my kid and all this. And I've heard that over and over and over and over and over again. And you wonder, why does no one ever do the slightest bit of research on what they're getting into?
And that happens because Muslims, yes, they are allowed to marry Christian and Jewish women, although it is not recommended. They are supposed to at first go for a Muslim woman. However, they are allowed to marry a Christian and Jewish woman, but they are also supposed to then influence her and convert her to Islam. That is how it's supposed to be. They're not supposed to give her freedom, but they always act like, "Oh yeah, totally. We can marry Jews and Christians. Look, this is how great Islam is."
Look at this. She's already tweeting unpopular opinion. You don't have to be in love to get married. Well, that's not an opinion, lady. That's not an opinion. It's true. You don't have to be in love to get married. That's true. But the question is, why have you already? I mean, you clearly had some wonderful ideas about, oh, I'm going to meet the man of my dreams and be married forever, and now you're already, well, we don't have to be in love, and she's already engaged. They condition you very, very quickly, and this woman agrees with what she said about not needing to be in love. She said, I absolutely agree. The aunties were right when they say, just marry him, you'll love him later.
Good luck.
And he'll beat you senseless if you don't.
Good luck. Sure.
All right. So that's our new revert friend asking about Mut'ah. So we're going to educate her on Mut'ah. We're going to go through a couple Muslim sources on Mut'ah and see if we can figure out what's going on here. Let's go through a couple more super chats real quick.
It's so funny that when they say stuff like this, it sounds like they're acting like these are recommendations or these are opinions. It's not that at all. Mm-hmm. In Islam, you can't just build relationships and fall in love with someone and get married. That's not the way. You're supposed to just get married blindly without meeting and all that. And so this is not an opinion or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just them rationalizing or accepting what is obligatory and then acting like, oh yeah, you know what, I totally agree with that anyway.
This blue-haired guy is spitting. Yep, spitting hot fire. Hey, check this out. This is actually a good suggestion. It's not destiny, it's prophecy. Your blue-haired character should be prophecy.
That's good.
Wouldn't that be funny?
I was thinking I should call myself Molestini, but then I thought it was kind of weird.
Molestini. You need to be an LGBTQ revert to Islam, who joins Queers for Palestine, and your name is Molestini. Throw the... no, actually, you don't even need any of the. Well, I'm trying to think of what would cause the blue hair, because you just need to be like a Dawa guy for your character to be a molestany.
Yeah.
But what would be the blue hair? Yeah, it'd have to be something like that. A prostrate prophet, AP. You should believe in Jesus. You should choose Jesus.
Inshallah.
Don't mention Mut'ah if you come to Sweden. It's a dirty word for female genitals. Very suitable for today's theme. Yes, it is.
Really?
We're going to see why.
That's fun.
Watching CP now. Convert says Ibn Baz is stupid. Yeah, converts will say pretty much anything.
You're watching CP. Somebody should call the police.
How are you commenting over here if you're watching CP over there? It's cool that both of you flew with a donkey to Jerusalem, but the other passengers even flew with 2. Wingaling for life. Oh, they're saying both of us are donkeys. Down with wingalings. Bunch of freaking nerds.
That's a pretty good roast, actually.
And us wingalings are all united over here at the Star Trek convention.
Alhamdulillah. Like that. Mr. Bukhari, defecating upon one another. It's number 2. It's number 2.
Noise.
I purify my brother D. Wood. I raise him up. Hosanna. Have you thought about trying to trick AI into generating images of Muhammad? That's been done. You did that with Muhammad and Aisha, didn't you?
Yeah, I did that. It won't accept it when I say Prophet Muhammad. But then I just tried playing with the wording a little bit, saying Muhammad the Prophet. But then eventually I thought, you know what? There's no need for that. Just say 50-year-old man in 7th century Arabia.
With little girl. Oh, here's Muhammad. I mean, here's random guy.
Yeah.
D. Wood's goat. D. Wood's goat. Perfectly preserved. Christian. AP's goat. All messed up as if it just fled from Pakistan. Atheist. Draw your own conclusions.
That's a good point.
AP's goat all messed up as if it just fled from Pakistan.
You see, this is the proof.
They actually used the gruesome act child marriage to protect their children during the Armenian genocide. Interesting. We got to study that one day. Grab a book on it, actually read it, and report on it.
Inshallah.
I watched the Nigerian Perspective Guy's interview with Matthew Wood and lost all respect for him on account he says Jews run the world and I love ANP. What's ANP? I don't know what that is.
ANP, is that a party in the UK?
God bless you guys. Plus CP, you guys have inspired me to expose evil Islam cult. Yes, that's what we're here for. I'm going to make pamphlets and pass it to people. Yeah, that's good. And guys, again, if every
was
person,
he referring to the ANP in America?
I don't know what
that would be the Nazi party.
Oh yeah, not intro. I hope that's not. I mean, ugh. Oh yeah, as far as printing things out, helping people, yes, guys. Again, if you know one thing about Islam and you share that with another person, you've just helped. If you share it with 10 people, you do not need to know everything. Learn one important thing. Matter of fact, learn just about Mut'ah. We're about to go through some of the Muslim sources on Mut'ah. If you just learn Mut'ah, if you just take screenshots of the sources we're going to be looking at and you share those everywhere, you have made a difference. You would have made a difference with this young woman if she had been exposed to this information beforehand. Little harder when she's married and then has 2 kids. Going to be a little more difficult. Well, no, it's going to be a lot more difficult for her to escape it. Yeah, I live in Croatia. Bosnians still live in the Zakirnik era of Dawa. My favorite argument is when they say Arab women used to start counting their age from their first period. Yeah. Ask them for the, yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Just ask them for their source on that. What's your source? Because there is none. Because it's a lie and totally doesn't make any sense. I dreamed that maybe Matthew Wood could be a distant cousin of yours, David. Now I am your distant cousin as I am a Wood, and in so very depressing. Why would it be depressing to be my cousin? Why are converts to Islam called reverts if they were never Muslim previously? Oh yeah, so in Islam, according to Islam, everyone's born Muslim. and then your parents lead you to something else. And so when they convert to Islam, they believe that they're going back to what they were born as, which of course means that we're all ex-Muslims. And which means also that no religion in history has had more people leave it than Islam, according to Islam.
Based.
What do you guys think of Rudy Rockman? And what do you both think of Zoroastrianism? Know very little about Zoroastrianism and know absolutely nothing about Rudy Rockman. Do you know?
Rudy Rockman is this Israeli military guy. I don't know exactly what his background is, but we recently watched a video where he went and spoke to some drone operators to show what targeted drone strikes look like, and it was quite interesting. But don't know anything else about him. So Zoroastrianism, very interesting, very interesting. No longer very relevant today, very much dying out almost completely. Had an interesting history and was more tolerant than Islam, although you could say that it had some messed up practices, and it still does.
You heard it here,
like
folks.
Incest.
Ugh. Some bad optics on the AP show last night. I would ask him myself, but fear his wrath. Please ask him to keep the goat butt away from his nose. Yeah, some people are going to take a. You got to keep the goat butt away from your nose when you're doing stuff, AP. You can't be like this on the show. Oh, look, goat butt in my face. Shake it, goat. Shake it, goat. Shake it. Shake, goat booty.
Yeah.
AP's pronouns are uncertain and confused.
Yes.
I guess she is just a sharmuta. No, she's a little confused. She's just a little confused. But the guy was trying to treat her like one, but she's getting married too. I hope she didn't marry the guy who asked her for muta. A Sunni and a Shia walk into a bank. They shoot the Jew. What do you call? What's wrong with you? What do you call an Arab on crack? A prophet. What's wrong with this?
By the way, where did this guy in Nigerian perspective come from? Because I didn't hear about him at all until a few months ago, and now I check his channel out, and he has like 386,000 subscribers. I haven't even heard of this guy before.
Very much needed, given what goes on in Nigeria. Very important to have some constant commentary on Islam.
Yeah.
When you're in trouble, you call DW. If you see, call AP. That's pretty good. We can make a theme song out of that.
Yes, we shall.
Then revert and you become Sheikh Abdullah bin Petroleum Z's third wife. Now revert and become Abdul's favorite side muta. What went wrong? Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what they do.
I can tell if David is being sarcastic, but AP is hard to read yesterday. No more reading Ecclesiastes, AP. We get it. Everything is meaningless for the West. That is true.
Look at this. Look at this. There is somebody here encouraging me not to read the Bible. See?
You see?
See?
Stay away from the Bible because it's got Ecclesiastes in it. To the coolest and funniest Christian I know. Hi, AP, the great leader.
Thank you. My
leather straps see the dizzle, the rid vizzle up in this bizzle, coming to you live for shizzle, do you hizzle? Yes. All right.
Yes,
So,
yes.
again, we got more super chats, but we want to get to Mut'ah. Mut'ah, ladies and gentlemen. AP, have you heard of this thing called Mut'ah?
Mut'ah? No.
Yeah, let's check out some sources, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check out some sources. So here's the issue. Let me state as a quick overview. Sunnis and Shias agree, at the very least, that Mut'ah was allowed for a while. Right?
Yes.
That's standard. It's in all their sources. Mut'ah, that's temporary marriage. So Muhammad's army would be out. They'd be a long way away from their wives, and they'd be complaining, "Oh, how are we going to make it? What are we going to do?" And he allowed them to hire prostitutes, but it had to be halal. It had to be halal certified. You can't just bang some random prostitute. No, you marry her. So if you want to go sleep with a prostitute, no problem. You marry her, have sex with her, and divorce her. You pay her something, that's her dowry. So keep in mind, it's the exact same thing as prostitution. It's just halal prostitution. It's halal certified prostitution. This is what Islam does. It doesn't say, hey, control yourself, control your desires. It says, okay, yeah, go ahead with your desires. Just do it in an Islamic way, so that the only way your desire can be satisfied is within some halal means. So your religion becomes the means of satisfying all your desires. You're not taught self-control. You don't have to learn self-control. You do all the same stuff. You can have sex with 50 different women. You just have to do it the Islamic way. Just have to do it the Islamic way. So let's look at a couple of sources and we'll see the issue. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, 5075. Narrated Abdullah, we used to participate in the holy battles led by Allah's messenger, and we had nothing, no wives with us. So we said, shall we get ourselves castrated? So keep in mind, these guys go off to battle. They go off to battle. They're away from their wives for a couple of days. Oh, should we castrate ourselves? We can't take it. We can't take not having sex for a couple of days. What are we going to do? We're going to die here. Shall we castrate ourselves, Muhammad? And what does he say? And what does he say? Does he say, dudes, control yourselves. Just control yourselves. Be men. He forbade us that. He forbade us getting castrated. He forbade us that and then allowed us to marry women with a temporary contract. Temporary contract. So I'm marrying you for these 3 days or these 3 hours or this day or this 2-day period, something like that, whatever the contract is.
Wouldn't it have been perfect if Muhammad had told all of his followers, all of the men, to just castrate themselves? That would have been amazing.
That would have been a good idea. We should make some sort of video. I always thought, you can rent like a DeLorean that's made to look like the time machine from Back to the Future. I always thought it'd be funny to make a video where we get in that time machine and go back in time to sort of steer Islam in a different direction. But one of the things we could do is go back to that time. And actually, Muhammad, why not go with the castration one? Oh, okay, we do that. And then you come back to the future. And then you go back to the future and everything's fine in the world.
The world has peace.
So he forbade us that, so no castrating yourselves, and then allowed us to marry women with a temporary contract, and recited to us, O you who believe, make not unlawful the good things which Allah has made lawful for you, but commit no transgression. Guys, this is very important right here, very important. He just quoted the Quran to say Mut'ah is okay. The reason that's important is this is going to become extremely important in whether you think Mut'ah is still allowed. This is Muhammad saying you can practice temporary marriage, prostitution. You go find a prostitute, you just marry the prostitute while you're having sex with her, and then it's a quickie divorce right afterwards. And he says, O you who believe, make not unlawful the good things which Allah has made lawful for you. So what has Allah made lawful for you? He's made temporary marriage, Mut'ah, aka Islamic halal certified prostitution, lawful for you. Why is that? Why is this important? This is Muhammad saying that this verse, the Quran, allows you to hire prostitutes. So it's halal. It's halal certified. It's halal certified. Okay, let's keep going. Go through a couple sources.
By the way, Mut'ah literally means Mut'ah marriage literally means pleasure.
Pleasure marriage, yeah. Pleasure marriage. Yeah. So now look at the chapter heading here. So this is Sahih Muslim, section on Mut'ah. Look at the chapter heading. Mut'ah marriage. It was permitted, then abrogated, then permitted, then abrogated, and it will remain forbidden until the day of resurrection. So they give the thinking of the schools of jurisprudence on this issue. It was permitted, then abrogated, then permitted, then abrogated. It will remain forbidden until the day of resurrection. Not so fast, not even according to the sources you've got here. So check this out. This is Sahih Muslim. Ibn Urayj reported, Ati reported that Jibr bin Abdullah came to perform Umrah, and we came to his abode, and the people asked about different things. And then they made a mention of temporary marriage, whereupon he said, so this is after the time of Muhammad, whereupon he said, yes, we had been benefiting ourselves by this temporary marriage during the lifetime of the Prophet and during the time of Abu Bakr and Umar. Now look what he said here, because the point is there are some discrepancies in the Muslim sources. Some of the Muslim sources say that Muhammad allowed mut'ah for a while, and then he eventually forbade it. And then he said, no more mut'ah, no more mut'ah. And it's different. The time when he forbade it is different depending on what source you give to. It's common to say it was at the Battle of Khaybar. That's where he said, hey, I know you're about to hire some prostitutes. No more mut'ah, no more mut'ah, no more mut'ah,
No more mut'ah.
no more mut'ah. All right. Look at what this says. This is from one of Muhammad's companions. Yes, we had been benefiting ourselves of this temporary marriage during the lifetime of Muhammad and during the time of Abu Bakr and Umar. So during the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar. So long after Muhammad died, they were still practicing mut'ah. So how is that? If the Muslim community understood that it had been banned, why were they still doing it? Why are they still doing it during the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar? Quite a mystery.
They didn't know.
We totally forgot, and we started hiring prostitutes again, and no one bothered to tell us, and then we remembered later on. Same chapter of Sahih Muslim. Jabir bin Abdullah reported, we contracted temporary marriage, giving a handful of tails or flour as a dower. Notice, handful of flour. So basically something that the lady... So you're in a town, you're there to wage war, you're stopping in a town, there's a prostitute there. Hey, prostitute, come marry me for 3 hours. I'm going to give you a handful of flour so you can make yourself some bread. And I'm going to bang you, but you get to bake yourself a little bread out of it. Islam is great, treats women great. We contracted temporary marriage, so we hired prostitutes, giving a handful of flour as a dower during the lifetime of Allah's messenger. Notice what he says here. During the lifetime of Allah's messenger and during the time of Abu Bakr until what? Until Umar forbade it. Until Umar forbade the practice. And so this is what you find in the Muslim sources. Some of the Muslim sources say that Muhammad allowed mut'ah marriage, and that this continued. Muhammad didn't forbid it. This kept going through the reign of Abu Bakr into the reign of Umar, and then Umar is the one who said, nope, no more mut'ah. Why is this relevant? Well, AP.
Yes, that's me.
If Allah says mut'ah, temporary marriage, hiring prostitutes, is halal, and a Muslim says, no, Umar forbade it, and therefore it's actually haram. Is there a problem with that in Islam? And you say, I'm going to listen to Umar and not Allah?
Yep. By the Quran's definition, that would mean that they are taking Umar as God besides Allah.
Yep, guys, that's according to the Quran and Muhammad himself. In the passage of the Quran, which talks about Jews and Christians taking their priests and rabbis as lords, the historical background of that, a Christian was there and he says, what are you talking about? They don't worship their priests and rabbis. Muhammad said, when you listen to a man about halal or haram, and it goes against what Allah says is halal or haram, you're worshiping the man. That's how people worship their priests and rabbis, by listening to them when they give an answer that is different from the one Allah gave. So think about this. If this timeline is correct, that Muhammad allowed mut'ah marriage, temporary marriage, pleasure marriage, he allowed his followers to hire prostitutes, and if this continued throughout Muhammad's time, and he even quoted the Quran to say this is one of the things that Allah allows you in the Quran, then it's halal according to Allah and Muhammad. If the practice was actually outlawed by Umar, and you say, well, Umar says we can't do it, therefore we can't do it, even though Allah and Muhammad say we can, then according to Muhammad himself and Allah, you are now worshiping Umar by not practicing. So think about this. By not practicing mut'ah, or by saying that mut'ah is no longer allowed, you are actually committing shirk, and you're going to hell for worshiping Umar. That's some wild, wild stuff. Here we have also Sahih Muslim. Abu Nadr reported, while I was in the company of Jabir bin Abdullah, a person came to him and said that Ibn Abbas and Ibn Zubair differed on the two types of mutahs. So notice what's going on here. It's talking about Muhammad's companions differing on various types of mutah. So you have tamatu of Hajj. It's a different form of mutah, but it has to do with, again, with pleasure. That has to do with the two pilgrimages and so on. And there's the greater pilgrimage and the lesser pilgrimage. And some people would try to combine them or something like this. And there were rules because there were more rules associated with the greater pilgrimage and so on. And so the question is, what if you go from the pilgrimage with lesser rules to the one with more rules? Does it count? What do you have to do? And so on. And Muhammad allowed you to sort of transition easily from one to the other. So this was a joy or a pleasure to them to be able to transition from one to the other in this way. Anyway, confusing stuff, but that was one version. And then there's also the version with women, whereupon Jabir said, we used to do these two during the both forms of mutah. We used to do these two during the lifetime of Allah's messenger. Umar, who did? Umar then forbade us to do them, and so we did not revert to them. So you have a number of hadiths where Umar, the caliph, after the death of Muhammad, is the one who says no more mutah, which if you go with that, if you say, okay, Allah allowed it, but Umar forbade it, so we're going with Umar, you're worshiping Umar, according to Allah and Muhammad. So this would, just going through the passages that we've looked at, would seem like an open and shut case. Mutah was allowed during the time of Muhammad, Umar forbade it, and if you say that mutah is no longer allowed, you're actually worshiping Umar. That would seem straightforward, but there's a problem, because you have passages like this. Narrated Ali ibn Abi Talib on the day of Khaybar. So that's during Muhammad's lifetime. Allah's messenger forbade the mutah, i.e. temporary marriage, and the eating of donkey meat. So Muhammad forbade the practice. And so you can try to reconcile these. That seems to be the intent of the heading in Sahih Muslim, which said it was allowed, then it was forbidden, then it was allowed, then it was forbidden. You can try to kind of harmonize them by saying, okay, so Muhammad allowed it, then at Khaybar he forbade it, then at some point after that he allowed it again, then Umar came along and said no more during his caliphate and so on. That doesn't actually help you, because if Muhammad allowed it, then forbade it, then allowed it again, and then Umar overrules him, you still got the same problem. So there doesn't seem to be a good way out of this. But anyway, you have a bunch of these passages saying that Muhammad at some point during his lifetime actually made temporary marriage forbidden. He made it haram. But you have these others saying, no, it was allowed throughout the time of Muhammad and throughout the time of Abu Bakr and into the caliphate of Umar, and that Umar is the one who forbade it. So AP.
Yes.
This is the reason that some Sunnis think it's totally okay to practice mutah still. It kind of depends. It's basically personal preference at this point, because if you're a Sunni and you say, I want to, look at this hot revert chick. I don't want to, she's kind of, I don't know, she doesn't seem like the brightest, so I don't want to, I don't know if I want to be with her a long time, but I'd like to bang her, so let me tell her about mutah. If you wanted to justify it, guess what? You can do it very easily. You can go to the hadiths we pointed out and say, hey, no, this says that Umar was the one that forbade it. Muhammad allowed it. Muhammad quoted the Quran to say that it is halal. It's halal certified. Umar can't overrule that. In fact, if we let Umar overrule that, we're worshiping Umar. I'm not worshiping Umar. I'm not worshiping Umar. So I say mutah is still allowed, and therefore I'm going to go bang this revert chick. Right? So you can do that. Or if you think, oh my goodness, that's disgusting. Why would Allah allow us to hire prostitutes. I thought we're supposed to be so moral and stuff. And we're just supposed to have these 4 wives and all these concubines, these slave girls and stuff that we take. So I thought we're supposed to just be limited to them and them trading them out and our child brides. This is supposed to be a moral religion. So we wouldn't allow temporary marriage, hiring prostitutes in this religion that does nothing but satisfy our desires. So we're so confused here. And so if you think Allah doesn't want you practicing mut'ah, then you say, oh, look, there's these hadiths that say Muhammad actually forbade the practice. And so you see, Islam doesn't teach this.
I agree with the overall message of what you said. However, from a Muslim perspective, or in the Muslim world, it would actually be a plus point. Like it would be actually a pro that she's not very bright. So they'll be like, "Oh, she's not very bright." Okay,
that's true. I knew it as soon as I said it. I had the same thought. That's why. That's why I tried to move on quickly.
Yes. But yeah, so this is a thing. We have lots of traditions. We have lots of sources. Just going even outside of the Sunnah, outside of the Hadiths, we have prominent scholars. We have Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. We have different, very, very prominent scholars still saying that lots of the companions of Muhammad still believed in it after the Prophet died. We have people in the 12th century saying it is still halal, although some object. We have people in the 15th, 16th century, and so on. In Shia Islam, it's no question. It's like in 12th Shia, it is allowed. Mm-hmm. It is allowed. There is no big problem. And there is also an issue where certain Sunni scholars do. They say that mut'ah itself, as it is known, is not allowed. However, there are different practices that can be done instead of that. There are different forms of marriage that can also be practiced, or some people would do it like they don't agree on doing a temporary marriage on paper, but they agree to do it temporarily, orally, and then they write it down as if it was a regular marriage, and then they just dissolve it after they're done, and things like that. It's just, this is really, really messed up, weird stuff. But you said something earlier, which I also think about this all the time, which is regardless of whether it is considered permissible right now or not, there is just a very, very big problem, which is that Muhammad at some point explicitly told his followers, his warriors, the ones who were with him, that this is totally fine, that they can go and do that. And they did it. They did practice it. People in his time did practice it. If whatever narrative is true, if he at some point then decided, you know what, guys, I don't allow this anymore, I just realized this is totally wrong, or if after he died, one of his successors said, hey, this is not okay anymore, the fact stands that according to the tradition, both according to Sunni agreement and Shia agreement, Muhammad did allow his fighters, his jihadists, to practice that, to just go and pay random women and have sex with them for pleasure. To me, honestly, the idea that he actually allowed it for a while and then later forbade it and condemned it is even more problematic than just allowing it and keeping it that way. Because why would you allow such a thing, and why would such a thing be recorded and allowed by the perfect messenger of Allah with the perfect morals to begin with, to just then later be forbidden? This just looks like it doesn't come from Allah. It comes from whatever the Prophet just thinks should be done, or whatever some other people think should be done. It was, however, at some point allowed. Muhammad practiced or allowed prostitution.
Yeah, and along those the lines of what you were just pointing out, that what Sunnis and Shias can agree on, at the very least, is that it was allowed for a while. And so when you ask Muslims if they think it's actually wrong, so why did he forbid it? Oh, because it's wrong. Okay. Well, why did he allow it for a while? Because I brought this up before. The response is, oh, but I mean, look, his followers were a long way away from home from their wives, and they were really struggling, and it was a really difficult time. It's like, what? That doesn't happen anymore? That stopped happening after that? All the military campaigns that these guys go on for centuries, that issue didn't arise again? Well, what would have been the response to people coming along a century later saying, oh, we're a long way from home, we're really, really horny, we need to do something? What would the response have been? Shut up, control yourself? Then why was that not acceptable during the time of Muhammad? Why did Muhammad have to say, "Oh, you're really far. You've been away from your wives for a few days. Okay, go hire a prostitute. Here's some flour. Give her a handful of flour so she can make a piece of bread."
That means that morality is completely arbitrary in
Yeah,
Islam,
it's just
and it just
whatever is
Muhammad,
convenient for the day.
his whims and desires and his conclusions can just say, "Oh, this is allowed right now," or this is from now on forbidden. From now on, this is banned. And any discussion that you have with a Muslim on why something is good and why something is bad is completely meaningless. Completely meaningless, because what they regard as right or wrong just totally depends on whether Muhammad or the Quran said it is right or wrong. And Muhammad contradicted himself and changed his mind on different things. So when a Muslim now comes and says, "Oh, yeah, of course it's wrong because it's because of this and this and this and that," okay, why did Muhammad allow it? If it's under certain circumstances, okay. So that means. Does that mean that we should technically just consider it okay as well if such a situation arises today? If it is always wrong, no matter what, then why did Muhammad allow it?
Yeah. And then, so that's just going with the sort of common Sunni view that you'll hear from Sunni scholars, that Muhammad allowed it for a while, then forbade it, so it's not allowed anymore. So that's one issue. Why was it allowed at all? I mean, you're talking about hiring prostitutes for a handful of flour. Here's some flour. I want to bang you tonight or for the next couple days. There are other passages where you'd give her a garment or something like this. So here's a shirt or something like that.
Lollipop.
Yeah. So you have those kinds of passages, and keep in mind, these guys have no problem with age ain't nothing but a number to these guys, right? It doesn't matter. Hey, see your 9-year-old girl over there, your 8-year-old, your 7-year-old. We're a long way from home, and you're really hungry, so here, I got some flour. I got food. I got yummy piece of bread. All I want to do is bang your little daughter. And so I mean, this is what's actually going on. And so this is all supposedly fine. So that's one issue. Given the best view of this, I'm saying best, if at least you believe that even though it was a thing and it was okay for a time, if you believe that it was stopped at some point, that's probably the best scenario here. But then you have all these hadiths that are also Sahih narrations, and they're saying, no, it wasn't Muhammad who forbade it. It was Umar later. Umar didn't like it. And so two versions of events. One, Muhammad forbade it, and then it was forbidden. And then I guess people forgot about it. And then so people remembered later on, oh, we're not supposed to do this according to Muhammad. But then the other version is, no, it's actually Umar who forbade the practice. And then people made up stories later on because they realized, wait a minute, Umar's the one who said, we can't just say Umar told us not to. We're worshiping Umar. So they make up sources about Muhammad himself forbidding this practice. So it's real confusion. You have Sahih narrations, these multiple independent Sahih narrations saying it wasn't Muhammad didn't do it, it was Umar. And you have multiple Sahih narrations saying Muhammad forbade the practice. So it's a conflict, and you'd have to wonder, what the heck do these guys think of history? They're contradicting each other left and right. Joshua Little actually had a good explanation of that. So that's a guy who, I don't know, he kind of grew on me because I heard there's this guy who did his doctoral dissertation at Oxford on the age of Aisha, and him saying he's going to combat Islamophobes by taking this objection away and showing that Aisha wasn't 9 years old and so on. And I was like, what a clown. But I went to it, and he actually just thinks the hadiths are garbage in general, and you can't trust them, and therefore you have no idea how old Aisha was because the hadiths are a big joke. But as far as how you ended up, this he talks about in an interview I saw with him. He talks about how you ended up with multiple Sahih narrations giving completely contradictory claims. He claims that in the first century of Islam ended up regional. So there's some guy named Muhammad, he teaches things, his people go out, and you ended up with different localized versions of Islam. They still had things in common, they still prayed and things like that, but their teachings on moral issues were basically localized. It's what the local population thought was okay. And so you'll end up with an area of so you have like a Muslim community around Mecca, you have a Muslim community in the Medina area, you have a Muslim community in the Kufa area, and so on. You have different areas, and their morality is basically what's taught in that area. And eventually, over time, these are in competition as people realize, no, we need like one Islam. We need one Islam. So then there was this kind of arms race where if you taught that Mut'ah was okay in your area, if hiring prostitutes is okay in your area, and you realize, wait a minute, they say it's not okay over in that area, you guys start making up sources on how this goes back to no, it wasn't Muhammad who forbade it was Umar, so you still think it's okay. And in this other area, they write it into their sources, no, Muhammad forbade the practice, he forbade the practice. And so basically people are fabricating sources in order to justify their localized version of Islam. And then when you end up with this pan-Islam that's sort of bringing all these sources together, you get the contradictions, because one area said Mut'ah was okay, another area said Mut'ah's bad, and then you end up with both things in your sources, and that's why they contradict each other. I can't prove that is correct, but that would account for things better than what Muslims are saying.
That's also what Robert Hoyland says. That's kind of in agreement with what he says, where he reports on. He writes about the transition, the change from pre-Islamic paganism to Islam, and how the Islamic conquests started, how Islam spread, how they exploded and expanded out of the Arabian Peninsula. He also explains that contrary to popular belief, or contrary to what many Muslims and others believe today, Islam wasn't one big force that just that was totally organized and attacked the world. It was many different tribes and groups attacking and getting out of Arabia that were very much independent from each other, and the whole the Ridda wars, the wars of apostasy. The point there was to was an effort to unite all of these different groups who, as it turned out, on different occasions had completely different rules, completely different from what Muhammad actually preached, and those were fought and battled in order to subdue them and unite them under one Islam. It still didn't work out very well, but that was the effort. That's how it happened.
Yeah, and so to any of you new revert Muslimas out there who converted to Islam without bothering to spend 5 minutes actually looking up any possible critiques of it, that's what Mut'ah is. It's prostitution. Islam satisfies and gratifies all the same desires that everyone else, that men have all around the world. It just gives them a halal way of doing that. So you want to have sex with 50 different women, you can do that in Islam. You want sex slaves, you can do that in Islam. You want to hire prostitutes, you can do that in Islam. Islam gives you a way to do all these things while claiming to be, pure and wonderful. One more thing to bring up, just to show that this still goes on. This still goes on in the world. So you'll have Muslim scholars, no, that's not allowed, and you just have tons of Muslims still doing it. Why? Because you can always defend it, whether you're Sunni or Shia. A little easier to defend if you're Shia, but you could still defend it if you're Sunni. Here we go. I got this comment several years ago. I just kept it because interesting. So this is from the Christian Vegan. This was in response to a post about Mut'ah. She said, Mut'ah is 100% true. I know this for a fact, my very own self. Before I repented and gave my life to Jesus, I lived a very sinful life. I was an addict and sold myself to support my habit on the streets of Bankstown, Sydney, Australia. The majority of my clientele were Muslim men. The unmarried ones would ask me to repeat some words in Arabic after them, which was basically me agreeing to marry them for however many minutes I agreed to give them in sexual service for the amount of money I agreed to charge them. They would even look at their watch for the exact time. Even if we finished in 1 or 2 minutes, which was always the case, even if we finished in 1 or 2 minutes, which was always the case, if the agreement was for 30 minutes, I would have to sit out the remainder of the marriage. Then once that 30 minutes was up, we were instantly divorced. I jump out of the car. So it's a marriage. The whole entire marriage is taking place in a car. Guy says, "Hey, I want to hire you. Here's some money. Okay, I'll climb in your car. Okay, recite this thing in Arabic saying we agree to be married for 30 minutes. Guy finishes in 1 or 2 minutes, and then she has to sit there with him for the remainder of the time, because that's your wife. You can't let think about this. If she's your wife for 30 minutes, you can't let her out of that car to go do it with someone else, or your wife is out banging some other dude, right? So you have to actually keep her there. See how wonderful and pious and moral they are, protecting their wives even for the 30 minutes that they're married.
So based, so beautiful.
Yeah, such a beautiful religion, such a beautiful religion. Then once that 30 minutes was up, we were instantly divorced. I jump out of the car and proceed to get married several more times that night to other Muslim men. Also, so many married with children Muslim men make up the majority of clientele in the street sex work industry in the Bankstown area. So guys who are already married and they have children, and they make up the majority of the men who are hiring prostitutes and doing mut'ah. I just wanted to confirm mut'ah is very real and still happening today in Western countries. I thank my Lord Jesus Christ for saving me and making me a new creation. But all religions are the same.
All are the same, exactly the same.
So, ladies and gentlemen, still going on. Why is it still going on? Guys, there's a reason we point all this stuff out. If you go to a Muslim, like that woman, not the woman we just in the comment from Australia, the woman who is posting, "What's mut'ah? A guy asked me. I just converted to Islam, and a guy already asked me if I want to do mut'ah," and she's asking what mut'ah is. I didn't look at the comments, but I guarantee, no, yes, it was allowed because they were going to castrate themselves. So what else can Muhammad do? And he allowed it for a little while, and then he forbade it because it's wrong and immoral. And she'll go, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." It's not that simple. So as we already pointed out, even if you go with that version of events, you have some problems, but there are more problems. There are more problems which lead to Muslims even today believing that they can do mut'ah. So big problem. You just can't believe the scholars when they talk to you, because they don't give you the entire story. Now, if a scholar said, "Here's the actual situation," some sources say this, some sources say that, we side with these sources because of this, other people side with these sources because of if you actually broke it down, then you could say, okay, he's actually giving her good information. It just never happens. It just never happens. You always tell that convert whatever is going to convince her that Islam is okay. That's all you're going to do. All right. Well, I have to be off here in about 15 minutes. Let's burn through as many super chats as we can. What's Bruce Lee's favorite drink? Mut'ah? Nope. It's water.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments on the video right now, and it's like most people are saying, "No, this is disgusting. It's totally haram." There are some people who are a little bit more knowledgeable who say, "No, sister, it was allowed at some time because by the Prophet Muhammad, because the warriors, they were far away from home." And someone else says, "So no, it can't be true. There is no source for that," and so on. People are fighting. It's fun.
Yeah. So guys, think about, because AP and I just talked about this. Think about this. If your justification is, "Oh, but he had to do that for the time because his soldiers were far away from home and they were really horny." Again, how would that not apply to situations today? How would that not apply to a Muslim businessman who he lives in let's say he lives in Mecca and he goes to Dubai for business? "Oh, I'm a long way away from home. What am I supposed to do? Castrate myself?" No, hire a prostitute. How would the same not apply?
Okay.
Whatever the justification you think is for Muhammad doing it, how would that justification not still apply?
It's better than masturbating.
Yes, that would be haram. Given the high rates, just hire a prostitute. What's wrong with you?
Logic.
And we all know what really happened. Muhammad, should we castrate ourselves? No, don't do it. But all we have are some goats here. Well, then don't castrate yourselves. Do what you have to do. Just give the goat a handful of flour. The goat is hungry after a couple hours of love making. Oh boy. Given the high rates of apostasy among converts, how badly do you think it will backfire on Islam when they suddenly have to deal with a large vocal community of ex-Muslims in the coming years? I think it's an issue. Now, to be clear, most converts, so if someone converts to Islam and then is like, just sort of falls away after a while, most of those people don't become vocal ex-Muslims. They don't go out, they don't go out blasting Islam. Some do. Some do. Some of the people who convert to Islam and then leave it after a while, and then people harass them and so on, they get aggressive and they come at it. So yeah, they're creating a massive community of ex-Muslims who aren't going after Islam, but a percentage of those people always become critics of Islam. So yeah, long term, they got a messed up strategy. Maybe Matthew is influenced by Nick Fritos. He says Islam is a distraction from the real evil that runs the world after seeing that AP is right. No hope. Yeah, it is amazing. Hey, you've got this giant ideology that's about to take over massive parts of the world just by birth rates, and it calls for our violent subjugation. But that's just a distraction from the real problem. A couple million Jews over in Israel. What a dope.
It's so stupid, man. Like, if this is what the Jews are doing, if this is all the plan of the Jews, then Jews are really, really, really risking their entire existence, really risking getting totally oppressed and killed by a chaotic world where the Islamists would take over and would start killing them randomly without taking anybody's warnings seriously. So I don't really know. It's so dumb. It makes no sense at all. Like, are Jews really these geniuses who are ruling the world behind the scenes, or are they stupid enough to create this big monster that will eventually kill them?
Yeah, I have to say, you and I both, we were over there, and we got to interact with a bunch of people behind the scenes. Very nice people, working their hardest. We did not get the impression that there are these diabolical masterminds controlling everything that happens in the world from behind the scenes. Definitely did not get that impression. Oh, here you go. The guy was just setting her up for a hilarious joke. Hey, do you know about Mut'ah? No, what's a Mut'ah? Nothing. What's a Mut'ah with you?
Terrible.
Howdy, y'all. Love the content. I'm a truck driver, and I, for one, am grateful for your 3-hour plus live streams. God bless you both, especially the donkey-brained, blue-haired atheist. I think he's talking about you.
Atheist? Oh. Okay.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny calling atheists donkey brains. I might have to steal that.
It is.
For real, guys, how do Muslims believe, or why, that Mut'ah is from God? It's just sick. What kind of God is this Allah?
Muslims do not think. Muslims don't really. So the average Muslim doesn't really know much about this. It usually comes up when talking about Shia Islam because they are the ones who prominently still have this. But only very few get to the bottom and actually find out that it was at some point allowed by Muhammad, or that was at some point practiced. And then there are certain fabrications that say, and he said he condemned everyone who practices it and all that, or it was at some point forbidden. When they find this out, this is just one of those issues. There really is no proper explanation as to why Allah allowed it at some point when it is just so unacceptable. If it is so bad, if it is so despicable and so unacceptable, it shouldn't be at some point allowed by Muhammad himself. it should be forbidden immediately, right? If there are circumstances which make it necessary, then it shouldn't be forbidden. It should those circumstances will always arise throughout the centuries, and it would then again be applicable and again be allowed. If it's always forbidden, it should be forbidden always. And if you bring this up to Muslims and push them on it, this will lead to serious considerations and serious doubts and serious discussions. And Muslims generally don't dwell on things like these and try to just think them away and distract themselves and think about something else, because stuff like this is really problematic. Which is why this is actually a good topic to sit on and to emphasize, especially that aspect which David and I talked about here for several times now. If it is so bad, why was it allowed?
Yeah, and guys, just to understand how dawah and conversion, reversion, all that stuff works, their goal would be to keep people away from knowing this until they are thoroughly embedded in the Muslim community. Until you,
Yes.
in other words, they don't want anyone to ever hear about mut'ah, especially like revert girls like this and so on. So that guy actually messed up a little bit by letting the cat out of the bag, but he was just too horny.
He just wanted to have sex. What do you do?
Yep.
Can't blame a man.
Yeah, he saw like a new girl. Ooh, she's new. She doesn't know any better. I can do some mut'ah with her. Yeah, like what does he care? But yeah, so the goal in Islam and the goal of dawah is to get people thoroughly embedded in the Muslim community. If it's a woman, she converted, great. Get her married off really quickly. Get her to have a couple of kids and make it very hard for her to leave Islam, so that by the time she finds out about this stuff, it's going to be way too difficult a life switch for her to get out of it. And she's just going to ignore it and put up with it. And so our goal would be to make everyone know it ahead of time. You want people to have this information ahead of time. That's why we keep talking about making things common knowledge. I just heard about this new thing called jihad, which is like a holy war, which is like an oxymoron, because how can a war be holy? Yeah, I've heard about this jihad thing too. We'll have to look into that at some point.
What's that?
Oh, hey, here's a good question from Miss B. D. Wood. Ooh, it's one of these moral difficulty questions. D. Wood, you're on an ocean raft with Hitler, Stalin, Satan, AP, and Mike Winger. You must throw 3 people out or you sink. What do you do? Well, this is actually easy. If it would work, I would throw Mike Winger out 3 times. I would do that. But you're saying, no, we're going to sink. And so you're asking, which 2 would I keep? I would not keep 2. I'd throw out Hitler, Stalin, Satan, and Mike Winger. Keep AP, although I'd probably have to fight AP about throwing out Hitler. No, we need to keep him. He's so smart and he does great paintings. Well, we lose his paintings. And he loved dogs.
Yeah. That would be about my answer. Although I'm kind of conflicted between Satan and Hitler, because they both would be interesting people to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We might keep Stalin for food.
Yes. He didn't give people food, but it would be, we would always eat him. Not something that I don't do anyway. So
yeah, this for Ukraine, punk. Now we're eating your leg. and then to keep him alive, we would feed him his own leg. That'd be funny. This is good idea for female version of Islamicize Me. Yeah, they could be, because we've thought about for a while doing a female version of Islamicize Me. But yeah, girls finding out about mut'ah might be good. You need to share your husband with your friends. Alhamdulillah, shake your booty bin hijab. Yeah, got to share your husband with your friends.
Yes.
So base the way she wants to be treated, just as if she were a real human. So who's the real oxymoron? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's the oxymoron. Hey, I'm converting to this. Yeah. And yet I want to be treated like this. And so I'm converting to something that would not actually allow it. David, you see, Rationality Drools is actually a closeted Christian paid by the Knights Templar to destroy atheism from within with terrible debunking. Could be. Prophet Muhammad had a secret LGBTQ lover. Yes, his name was Dihya al-Kalbi. who
You did say that he allowed people to transition earlier. So.
yeah.
Yeah.
Involuntary mut'ah. Abdul's like, Haro, beautiful, show bubs and hijab. Why are Western women a status symbol for Muslims?
Oh my boy. Very, very long topic. Inferiority complex is a big one. I made a video on this. I would just recommend watching that.
Yeah, what's the video?
The video
Do you
is
remember what it's called?
I think it's called Why Muslims Are Obsessed with White People.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that one. Yeah, that was that. Did I have Lindsay Lohan on the?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
remember that one. That was way back in the
It
day.
it has Lindsay Lohan on the thumbnail, and the video is called it's called Why Muslims Are Obsessed with White People. Yeah.
Does the term mut'ah have anything to do with sharmuta, a very bad word in Arabic? I mean, so the mut'ah is the pleasure. I don't know. I don't know the derivation, so I don't know if they're connected or if it's just a coincidence.
Interesting question.
Sheikh Mawingaling says, loving the blue hair, like animals in nature, showing the world how poison you are, AP. Joking, keep up the good work. Yes, we shall.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back
Appreciate
when I was a queer performance artist in LA, Muslim dudes in the MENA were in my DMs constantly proposing. Many also thought I was a chick because I was very androgynous at the time. So so this person was a performance artist, and Muslims thought they were talking to a girl and they kept proposing marriage. That would be funny. That might be funny. I'm wondering what kind of skit could be done on that, or a little experiment. You know what I mean? But Muslim women can't marry Christian men. That's true. A Muslim man can marry a Christian woman. A Muslim woman cannot marry a Christian man. Yep, hell to pay. Don't marry a Muslim man. Christian woman, I love my husband, but it is not easy. I would not do it again. Let me save you a headache. Wow. So, speaks from experience here. I was watching a Sam Shamoon video and saw that he called a Muslim in the comments a son of a whore, blah, blah, blah. Was really disappointed by that. As Christians, where is the line for our insults? Well, yeah, you want to make sure you're speaking accurately. My jizya tax to Destin AP. Destin AP. AP, did you stick your finger in a light socket? That would explain the hair.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's the only possible way to explain the hair. How has Islam been able to propagandize so successfully? People who normally would call Islam fascistic are reverting, and people who before defended the Jewish people are calling them genocidal.
Because we're living in difficult times where Islam is playing the role of a cry bully and acting strong, acting tough, while also crying a lot. Apparently, it works.
Yeah. As far Islam has always focused on manipulation as a means to controlling people, to getting people to convert, manipulation and deception. Whatever gets people on your side or silences critics or something like that, that's what they do. And we just happen to live in a generation where people's ability to manipulate and deceive is massively amplified because of things like social media. So you've got the basic tools in the Dawah tool belt, manipulation and deception, and all of a sudden you get the ability to mass manipulate people very easily from your computer. And so Islam can thrive temporarily, but it also becomes easier for us to expose it. And that's the situation Islam is in. That's why I keep saying that we're in kind of a race. They're racing like, can we just silence people long enough until we take over physically and then we can silence critics by killing them? Or can we actually expose them fast enough to where it all collapses before they actually can silence everyone through force? That's the race we're in right now. Can one like Mike Winger's videos and teaching without actually being considered a wingeling? No.
I don't think so.
No. Saw Pierce, Abby versus Mossab, crazy funny stuff. Yeah, I thought about going through that. I had a couple topics ready and stuff, and it was difficult. But yeah, I shared the clip on Twitter of him saying that because she it was actually funny. You are not fit to be a mother. He's telling this woman.
He was going hardcore.
The dude always go. But what's crazy is you have all these like blonde-haired Western women and stuff, and they'll come on with him and start talking about how he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like
you don't know. I know. I'm on TikTok, and I know. I'm a journalist, and I know.
It's like this guy's father started Hamas, and he was there. He's been on the Palestinian side. He's been on the Israeli side. He's been in the mix for his entire life. And I know better, he, because I'm a journalist. And they'll degrade him. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. But any discussion between Mossab and one of these people, it's like it's making that point. Like, what gives you people the idea that you know what you're talking about? What? And that you know more than a guy who is right there in the middle of everything. I mean, if you think about it, he's probably in a better position as far as actually understanding what's going on. He is probably in a better position than anyone else on the planet, period. Because, I mean, like, you can have, like, intelligence guys who study things or get intel or something like that. But as far as, like, understanding the psychology and what it's really like, this guy, there's probably no one in the world who could touch him as far as actually understanding the situation, because he was there. It's his dad starting this. He grows up in it. He's raised in it. He's been in the Israeli jails and prison. He's been on the Israeli side. He's gone in as a spy. No one knows the situation better than he does. And every person who's in a discussion with him on some show, let me tell you what you don't know, Mossab. I'll tell you how it really is. And then they look like morons.
And he goes into, you're talking about oppression and about apartheid. It is not real. Just like Palestine. What is Palestine?
It is not existential.
Palestine does not exist. It is not existential. It is in your head. There is no Palestine. I am Palestine.
You say free Palestine. I say, what is that? It does not exist. Free what? Free nothing? Fine. Free or nothing. Yeah. All right, guys. We actually have several more super chats, but sadly, I'm supposed to be on with Robert in 5 minutes, so I have to jump off right now to get set up with Robert. So, sorry if I didn't get your super chats. But we have This Week in Jihad coming up in 5 minutes. Join me over on Robert's channel, Jihad Watch. Jihad Watch. We will be there for This Week in Jihad. And I haven't seen much jihad this week, so I wonder what Robert's got, because he actually pays attention to what's going on in the world way more than the vast majority of people do. Thanks, AP, for joining and for being way more upbeat than you were yesterday, where everything is, we're all doomed, we're all going to die.
And I decided that I could just be, happier and upbeat because it's all pointless anyway.
Yeah, it might as well be. If we're all doomed, we might as well be happy. All right. All right, everyone. I'm going to close out with a song here and some Screaming Goats here on the Screaming Goats podcast.
Ain't gonna follow no child molester, sex offender, prophet pretender. Ain't gonna follow no child molester.
Islam's not for me. Islam's not for me.
Islam's
Not for me.
Catch y'all.